time for Hops and Highways, your weekly newscast dedicated to the road building industry. My name is Jessica Lombardo, and I'm editor of Asphalt Contractor magazine. With me is Dormy Roberts, associate editor, and we're just going to talk to you today about the news and have some tips for roller maintenance. But first, we want to show you our fancy Yeti can koozies. And if you want one of your own, we are giving them away every week through March. And the first chance to enter was last week. And our first winner is Scott Melander, and he's the engineering program manager at Penn State.
So congratulations, Scott. We'll be contacting you for your address and shipping your koozie out first thing on Monday. So if you want to be a winner too, make sure to find this video on our website, forconstructionpros.com, before Friday and fill out the form. We will draw another name on next week's show.
Yeah, so like I said, we're going to be giving away one can koozie every single week through March. And in my koozie this week, I am having a bourbon barrel aged bonbon, raspberry bonbon from Three Sheeps Brewing. I haven't had this beer before, but it sounded delicious, and I'm really excited to try it and keep it nice and cold in my koozie. Dormy, what are you drinking?
So this week, I stepped away from the IPAs today to drink fine Pilsner. That's right, a good old Miller Lite, which it tastes pretty good right now after a long week. So cheers to making it through another work week.
Cheers, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Oh, that's good.
So the American Society of Civil Engineers was busy this week, releasing local grade reports for a few states. Utah, West Virginia, Arizona, and Wisconsin all received C or lower grades in 2020. This week, Texas and Ohio received their grades C and C- respectively.
While the overall infrastructure of the state might barely pass, their roadways are failing. In Texas, highways and roadways received a D+ grade with an average of 1,000 people heading to the state each day. The current gas tax funding is just not keeping up with the need to improve the state's roadways. In fact, current funding levels and resources from the state's gas tax are so inadequate that there will be a $15 billion annual gap through 2040.
Holy cow. The situation in Ohio isn't any better, where they received a grade of D for their roads and highways. Located within a day's drive of 60% of the population of the United States and Canada, Ohio maintains one of the most extensive and highly traveled roadway systems in the nation. Even though Ohio's roadway network is extensive, congestion costs Ohio motorists an estimated $4.7 billion each year in lost time and wasted fuel. And more funding is required to eliminate or narrow the gap between funding available and funding required.
Yeah, so we're going to start right off, and cheers to funding our roadways. And, I feel like someone's got to eventually be listening, right? Cheers.
Cheers.
So also released this week were the December job numbers. And as the nation struggles with economic effects from COVID-19, construction employment continues to perform better than many other occupational groups. Construction employment was only 3% below pre-pandemic peak in February 2020 compared to overall non-farm payroll employment, which was down 6.5%.
And the states with the lowest December 2020 rates, in order from lowest to highest, were Ohio at 3.6, or Utah, at 3.6%, Nebraska at 3.7%, North Carolina at 4.5%, South Carolina 4.9%, and South Dakota at 5%. So all of these states, except for South Dakota, were on the top 5 in November 2020. Utah had the lowest rate in December and November. The states with the highest December 2020 estimated NSA construction unemployment rates were in order from lowest to highest, were Alaska with 17.3%, North Dakota at 17.5%, Michigan coming in at 17.8%, Hawaii at 22.6%, and then Rhode Island topping off the list at 25.6%. So let's drink to steady, albeit slow, job growth.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So finally, in the news this week was a report from the company Morning Consult, and they conducted surveys all over the country asking workers if they would be getting the COVID-19 vaccine. So essential workers unable to work from home, such as construction laborers, they have risked their lives during this pandemic to earn a living over the past year. With food and agricultural workers, those in transportation or logistics, and construction laborers, they're all seeing higher rates of excess mortality during the pandemic. But still, just over 53% of workers in the construction industry said they would be getting the COVID-19 vaccine, which I thought was interesting.
And the retail, transportation, manufacturing, construction and leisure, and hospitality sectors all saw below average levels of willingness to be vaccinated. Workplaces may end up playing an important role in getting people vaccinated. And in December, the federal agency focused on workplace discrimination, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission said employees could make COVID-19 shots mandatory for their workers. So we want to know, for you out there, will you be getting the vaccine? Let us know in the comments below. And until then, we'll have our weekly cheers to end the pandemic.
I mean, if we keep saying it, we can will it to be true, right? Just like will it to be done. Cheers.
Cheers.
So obviously we don't have a special guest this week, so we're going to dive a little bit deeper into a maintenance topic. And today we're going to focus on the roller. So rollers are incredibly essential to asphalt density and therefore the usable life of the asphalt pavements that you're building. So when a roller breaks down, however, essential compaction time is lost. It affects the density and the entire paving operation. You got trucks waiting, you got the paver stopped, you got the plant waiting with the mix. It's really important to maintain your rollers then so they're operating at peak efficiency. So while you can do machine rebuilds right now in the off season, you want to make sure that your crew is keeping your rollers in ideal shape each day. So today we have 10 tips from roller manufacturers that can help ensure your machine is running smoothly all season so you don't have to fear that lost downtime.
And first off, you want to make sure that you're performing those daily maintenance checks. So completing that brief walk around of the machine before you start each workday can be an easy way to see if something's off before you even leave the shop. So make sure you look for those loose wires or loose hoses. Check for leaks, which is a sign that a hose has come loose, and check all the electrical components. If a switch isn't working, make sure one of those wires isn't loose. Also make sure backup alarms, warning beacons, and headlights are operating properly, and check the center joint and test the parking brake.
Yeah, so next you want to make sure that you're keeping the drum clean and lubricated. So during that visual inspection each morning, make sure there are no dings in the drum surface and that the drum is clean, because failure to keep the drum clean or any damage on the surface, it's going to result in imperfections on the mat, which we do not want. And since the drum is the core of the roller, you need to make sure it's taken care of at all times. Whether it's a vibratory or oscillatory system, you want to check the oil levels on a weekly basis to make sure that they're not getting low. Low oil levels, they're going to cause your bearings to go out, which will create a lot more downtime. Since we all know it just takes more time to remove the drum and replace the bearings than it does just to check the oil. So make sure you get that done.
So in addition to checking the oil, check other fluids as well. So from completing the recommended oil changes to make sure you have enough coolant, keeping all the fluids in check will help ensure that the engine is operating at peak performance. A brief check of the maintenance decal on the machine can also ensure that all fluid is at the optimum level.
So next, inspect your water system and make sure that everything that has to do with the water system is maintained frequently. If the water system is not working properly, asphalt's going to start sticking to that drums. And just like I said, it's going to cause imperfection in the mat, anything on the drum. If at all possible, try to fill your water tank from a clean water source. Water goes from the tank to the sprinkler bars and sprays out the front and rear drum. It serves as a lubricant to prevent asphalt from sticking to the drum. So it's important that the water that you put in is clean and not going to clog the system up.
And if you know that you're going to be working in an area that's scarce of water, you want to make sure that your roller has a water filtering system and that you check it often. Keeping the spray system fully functional by ensuring the nozzles are properly spraying evenly on the drum will give you the ability to achieve the best surface appearance. It's critical for those nozzles to be in prime working order so you are consistent with compaction process and not stopping to clean those nozzles constantly. Also, spray nozzles are wear parts for sure. They crack, wear out, clog. So it's important to make sure the water is able to flow through them freely at all time. And if not, just replace them. You also want to check the tank regularly for algae, calcium deposits, or other contaminants. Wow, we went through a lot. So do you think we could have a break and get a drink?
Yes, please. I was thinking the same thing. I'm getting a little parched. Cheers.
Cheers.
So another maintenance item on your roller that's important but often overlooked is monitoring the drum scrapers. So the drum scrapers, they hold the water to the drum and ensure that proper lubrication. So if they're worn out, you're going to lose water between the scraper and the drum, and asphalt's going to start sticking to the edges. Again, don't want that. The scraper system needs to be in contact with the drums at all times to spread the water consistently and minimize the potential for asphalt sticking. So when you're transporting the machine, pay close attention to the drum scrapers and make sure that they're properly adjusted before starting work. A lot of people don't do this. It's just an important step. It doesn't take that much time, but make sure you're doing it.
Next, check the air filters. Making sure the air filters aren't clogged can ensure that the engine won't run too hot. If the filter is plugged up, you're generating higher levels of exhaust than you should be. And if it's dirty, you should just replace it rather than try to clean it out with the compressed air, as sometimes you can do more harm than good by trying to clean it.
So the hydraulic system is another huge investment in your machine, and you make sure that that system stays maintained as well. Checking your hydraulic oil level inside the engine compartment is huge for protecting this investment. And over time, that hydraulic oil needs to be changed, but usually it can go 1,000 to 2,000 hours before you need to change it. But always follow the operator's manual specs in between maintenance intervals. Pay attention to the color of the oil, and if it starts looking dark or dingy, then it's time to change it.
And make sure you check those shock mounts. So the shock mounts are another important part of the roller to check before you leave the shop. The shock mounts are the rubber mounts that isolate the vibration from the drum, from the roller, or the operator. I can just tongue-tied here.
We're just having a day, everyone. We're having a day. Sorry.
The energy then is directed from the drum into the mat. And while manufacturers say small cracks in a shock mount are okay, they can be torn by a truck driver when he ties it down, or so they should be checked regularly. And if you have a crack where you can stick a quarter in, you should probably replace that one too. And if you have a shock mount that is starting to tear or fail, you should replace them all on that side of the drum.
So another maintenance item that a lot of people don't think about, and maybe it's not even a maintenance item, but you want to make sure that you're putting fuel in the machine at the end of each workday. So by fueling the roller at night instead of in the morning, you remove the air from the tank and reduce the likelihood that condensation can build up in the tank. So moisture will add water to your fuel and cause problems for the roller. Plus, by filling up the tank at each end of the day, you assure greater productivity so your guys can get right to work in the morning.
And I think this last step is kind of a given. Use the machine properly, as an asphalt compactor is, for all intents and purposes, designed to shake itself apart. Don't let your crew be the cause of any sooner or by improper using of the machine. By properly using the machine, you're not damaging the components unnecessarily. So proper machine use is also for the benefit of the asphalt mat being laid. If you're using too high of an amplitude or frequency for the job, you might be fracturing the aggregate. So when you do that, you're really changing the design intent of the structure of the asphalt.
Yeah, because over compaction, it's the easiest way to damage the machine. And it's not just damaging the machine, it's ruining the pavement that you're putting down. You've reached the density, but you continue to vibrate. And not only are you damaging the asphalt, I said, but all that energy is coming back up into the machine, and you're prematurely wearing the shock mounts, and you could even damage the machine permanently.
And while there's times that maintenance kind of falls to the sidelines, these tips are really here for you to remember to protect your investment. And let's drink to that.
Cheers.
Cheers. So thanks everyone for joining us this week. And look for the link to register to be the next week's Hops and Highways Koozie winner. We'll post a link to sign up later tonight.
Yeah, so we don't have a Build America Friday this week, which is kind of sad. We didn't have a lot of people submit any stories. Actually, we didn't have anybody submit pictures this week. So if you have a project that you worked on over the summer that you want us to highlight, send us a message. We love to talk about your hard work. Even if you're not still working right now, but you were like, man, I really worked on this great project. These girls should talk about it and give us a shout out. Let us know. We'd love to hear about it. So make sure you sign up to win the koozies. They're great. Also, next week, we're going to have Matt Stanley on the show from American Pavement Specialists, and he's going to talk about what it really means to be raised on blacktop, which is a huge initiative all over social media right now. And it's really trying to change the mindset of the asphalt industry and recruit more young people to our work. We're also going to have some big news to share about a special project that his team has been working on, and we can't wait to have you on there. But until then, stay safe out there. Cheers.
Cheers.
Watch Hops Highways live every Friday at 3 p.m. on Asphalt Contractors' Facebook page, or catch the replay on forconstructionpros.com/videos.